Hi, my name is Ray Bernard, and welcome to our installation of Mixture of Experts for Groq. In this example, we're going to show you how to create a wonderful pipeline for Open WebUI, which is an absolutely astonishing, flexible, fully robust web UI for your LLMs. So the first thing we want to do is create a directory called MoA, CD into it, or change directories into that, and then we're going to install Open WebUI by git cloning it into the directory. Once we have the directory, we're gonna again CD into the directory and create a virtual environment either for Windows or for Linux. The next thing we're going to do is install the required packages, and you do that simply by pip install our requirements.txt. Once that's completed, then you can start the web interface by just typing Open WebUI serve. You're going to wait a few seconds. Once it's fully instantiated, then you're going to go to the local 8080 URL where it's presenting itself on. The next thing we want to do is install pipelines. That's a separate package. It's OpenAI reference architecture for creating pipelines. It's fully extendable and works with any web UI. So the first thing we're going to do is within the same directory of MoA, we're going to git clone pipelines, CD into pipelines, and install the packages required for pipelines by just typing pip install our requirements once again. Then you're going to go ahead and take a .env template, put in the tokens and the URLs. In this example, as you can see, the URL is already there for Groq. You're just going to put in your own tokens. And once your own tokens are put in, you can adjust things like the temperature, the maximum tokens. Also, you can adjust how many layers of your MoA you want to invoke. We'll talk a little bit later about that. But you're going to need to put that into the pipelines folder. And I have an exact template with older tokens. They no longer work, so you'll have to definitely get your own tokens from Groq. Once that's been copied into the pipelines directory, you can begin the pipeline operations. As you can see here, I have some Ollama references as well, but in our case, we're just going to be focusing on the Groq implementation. And once again, Mixture of Expert is about sending a prompt to 3 different reference models in parallel and having those responses aggregate to a single prompt that a model will take a look at and synthesize as your final output. And this is where you would tell the application which models you want to use from Groq to do what. And in this case, we're using 3 different reference models. They're very small. And then we're using the Llama 7B 8192 for our aggregate model. Our Visual Code Studio, and I'm going to take you through the process of starting everything up. As you can see here, I have 2 main folders, Open WebUI and Pipelines. Those are the main ones that we've instantiated and installed. So let's go and kick off our Open WebUI. It's pretty easy. All you're going to do is, again, type open-webui space serve, and then you're going to wait until that is instantiated. You have the option of running this in Docker or as a Kubernetes cluster. I'm running this locally without any of those tools. And let's go ahead and log into the web interface by going to localhost 8080. There we go. Kick off our pipeline. I'm going to just CD into that, and I'm going to type start.bat. If you have Linux, it's going to be sh start.sh. As you can see, our pipeline is running. I'm going to go back into our web interface and I'm going to open up where we configure our pipelines. So I'm just going to go into admin settings and click on pipelines. As you can see, I have no pipelines installed right now. I'm going to actually insert my GitHub URL, which contains the actual pipeline file that I've created for Mixture of Experts. And that is found in my blog file, and I'll show you where it is. There it is. It's MoA Groq Pipeline. That's the URL that you're going to insert into that input box called install from GitHub URL. So once you install that, you're just going to go ahead and click to instantiate that, and then you're going to see that the pipeline was downloaded successfully, and now it's configuring. So now we have the ability to go back in and create a new chat. I already have these models selected. One is the direct Groq URL, and that behind that is the Llama 7B. So that's all it is. And I want to compare what you get with just calling the simple model versus calling the Mixture of Experts. And in this interface, you can actually choose both. My workspaces is where I have all the models that I've already created. And as you can see, I have the API for Groq there and my MoA Groq there. And so I could select them through this drop-down menu. And what will happen is that they'll both run at the same time, almost in parallel. That way you can compare and contrast what you get from each of these models very easily. So let's put in the prompt, things to do in Paris. As expected, the Groq URL, or rather the Groq API, should return faster, since in MoA we have a few additional steps of aggregating and then requerying the API. As you can see, the performance of MoA Groq is not bad at all. And as you can see, it offers a substantial amount of information compared to what you just get using the open source model. Let's try another prompt here. Things to do in New York City. As expected, the direct API is going to be just a little bit faster. Just to mention that I have tuned the MoA Groq edition to use multiple threads and use parallelization when communicating with the reference models. So it works really nicely. As you can see, you get a bit more detail when you're running mixture of agents rather than just using the standard open source model. Let's check out ChatGPT 4.0, top things to do in New York City. It's rather responsive, but as you can see, it's not as comprehensive as the MoA with Groq is. This concludes my presentation of the installation and demonstration of MoA with Groq on Open WebUI. Thanks so much and have a great day. Make sure you subscribe and like